Hello, and welcome back to my final character update for PoE 0.3, the third Edict, aka Abyss League. I initially wanted to grind a lot more and play around with a couple character ideas that I'd fleshed out in PoB, and potentially even make this character kind of insane, but the crazy performance issues that I've been experiencing has kind of ruined it. Streaming has been pretty difficult with PoE2 alone. Pretty much every other game has zero performance issues, and then, just playing PoE2 in some of the maps that I run, I'm getting like sub 20 FPS, 27 FPS, like consistent lows when doing like Deli and Breach together. And then sometimes it's even worse if I'm doing it on top of an Abyss. And I've tried all the fixes, and it's kind of just been an exhausting process, constantly reconfiguring my settings and my setup in order to play the game at an amount of FPS, the amount of frames greater than 25 or 30. I'll get 60 while doing normal stuff, but the second I'm doing like Delirium Breach, and then have the Abysses spawning nearby as well, there's no hope for it. So I'm gonna call it for now. I got, let's see, on Steam. I'll go ahead and check Steam hours, and then I'll type in my /played afterward. 100% of my Steam hours have been on this league, because previously I used the standalone client. I'm currently at 181.6 hours. And this character's /played is 6 days, 11 hours total, so not too bad. So I have 155 hours and 34 minutes on this character. The other time I accumulated on Steam was the little practice run I did to maps just prior to the league. And overall, I had a decent amount of fun playing with the new crafting systems, playing a strong build like Lightning Arrow, Lightning Rod was cool. Deadeye overall seems pretty strong. I didn't really love the Ascendancy system still. I think the implementation is just, it's currently in a place that it's not fun to interact with. It's kind of weird that it's trapped behind those mechanics. Maybe they'll change it in the future. Maybe they'll, I don't know if they'll adjust difficulties, or it's not even really difficulty. I guess it's more like mechanically not enjoyable to interact with. Some of the other core changes are kind of cool. I did finish the bow. I guess I'll put those clips in there right now. I wanted to finish up the bow before dipping out. There was definitely so much more min-max to go. I'm ending with sub 100 rarity. My rarity numbers could have been substantially higher. I'm only at 81. I'll have a POB posted below if you're curious about what my initial plans were. That POB was tweaked a little bit after League start with the changes to some gems and the updates to Path of Building 2 Community Fork. So it doesn't reflect certain tech that was discovered further on in the league, but if you're curious about what I was initially planning, or the ideas that I had, or progression steps moving forward with this character, it'll be in that Path of Building if you're so curious. And obviously all the gear in there is it's tier 1 everything. You could obviously adjust from there if you don't have access to it, but yeah, overall everything was super fun to interact with. As far as Abyss goes, the Abyss crafting is crazy. It's like pseudo, if not actual, determinism. The value of being able to block modifiers on an item with an Abyss modifier that can then be deterministically removed later, right? Because you had your ability to annul specifically Abyss modifiers and remove them off items, so you could shove an Abyss modifier into one side or the other of an item just to block that prefix or suffix, and then use it to roll the other side of the item, or vice versa, or roll with the side that the Abyss modifier is on. There's just so many things you can do. You can craft literally any item you could possibly want this league, and if it stays as a permanent implementation of the game unchanged, it will be the best, most insane way to craft gear from now on. I imagine it's getting changed. A lot of these mechanics wouldn't fly in PoE 1 because the sheer power. GGG in general has been very determined to not give us certain aspects of crafting that the Abyss currency has enabled. So moving forward, I imagine it's going to get nerfed. But yeah, I mean, this is where I ended up. Decent bow. The other pieces weren't super exciting. I never quite found an upgrade to this piece that I identified. Still probably one of the best things I've ever identified in a Path of Exile game. It's not even anywhere near as crazy as it could have been either. Like, you see that it's a lot of tier 4s and tier 3s. It just happened to have all the right things. These gloves weren't initially planned for my build, but these were a sick just find. I picked them up off the ground. They teamed, I picked them up, and ID'd them, and I saw these mods, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is everything I want, right? So that was like a fun surprise. I loved doing the Headhunter grind. I haven't done a Headhunter grind in so many years, because after the introduction of Mageblood in PoE 1, there was no real reason to grind for a Headhunter, at least for me. Because if I was playing trade, I was going to get the best belt as fast as possible, since usually the league will just start to outpace you if you don't get it early. Then you have to like play catch up, and it becomes incredibly expensive. So that's where we were at. Those are the items that I ended up with. Overall, a pretty fun experience. Like I said, the like lag issues, the crashing, those were the main factors that killed my enjoyment. New campaign, beautiful. There's some campaign gripes that I still have with the game, but the two new acts, the Act 4 and the interlude, mostly Act 4. Act 4 is gorgeous. I love Act 4. If it wasn't for the like 800 people in town murdering each other's frame rate, like, Act 4 is absolutely stunning. And the boss fight seems super cool and epic. So I just wanted to have like a video wrapping up. I guess here's what my Atlas looked like too. There was a lot more stuff I could have done. I mean, obviously you can just go on forever to infinity. I had a few nice setups. There was 2 or 3 triple overlaps that generated a bunch of currency. I ran as many cleanse zones as I could early on, got a bunch of divines, blah blah blah. Endgame scaling is still super cookie cutter. After playing for upwards of 100 hours, more than 100 hours in towers, I can understand why a lot of people don't like it. It was starting to become fatiguing. And I understand why people don't like it, because it's just like, when I have the ability to do harder content, like, I still have to run all the way around path to the harder content, which means I'm doing a bunch of obligatory stuff that doesn't have value. So there's a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna create one last piece of content for this league, and it's gonna be my summary covering like state of the game, my thoughts on just PoE 2 as a whole in its current state, separated from my thoughts and opinions on the league as well as campaign. I'm gonna have a really like thought out video, like a very structured video, talking about everything I liked and didn't like, and that'll probably be my conclusion for PoE 2 for a good while, at least until the next update. So yeah, had a bunch of fun, super cool. Hope everybody else is also enjoying PoE 2. If not, enjoy whatever game you might be farming. Oh, and I forgot to show you guys this. I know that people like this information. Here's the pilfering ring. So that's what the numbers look like. This pilfering ring was put on after acquiring the Headhunter, so this was after accumulating a total of 45 divines worth of currency that all got liquidated. So everything after the Headhunter was purchased is this. So do with that information what you will. It's kind of interesting to see that annulments are actually more rare than divines, or at least for the currency strategy that I was doing. So yeah, that's the pilfering ring. People are obsessed with these stupid things, so I thought I would just share that at the end there for you. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.